All right, welcome to our explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a pretty fascinating concept from our source material, fake submissiveness. We're going to break down what it is, how it's defined, and the specific tactics that go along with it. So, let's start with this quote. When the source talks about a weapon, what does it really mean? Well, it's not talking about weakness. It's framing this as a calculated strategy, a really powerful tool in a social toolkit, specifically designed to influence and ultimately control a situation.
Okay, so to really get a handle on how this so-called weapon actually works, we need to rewind a bit and look at the foundation of the whole theory, this idea about the fundamental energies that it claims are the engine of attraction between men and women.
So here's the core idea from the source material. You have two opposing forces. On one side, masculine energy, which is described as being all about competition and confrontation. On the other side, you've got feminine energy, which is seen as non-confrontational and submissive. The theory goes that this polar opposite dynamic is what creates that natural spark, that attraction. And it's right in that gap where fake submissiveness is said to operate as a tool for manipulation.
Now, to make all this theory a little more concrete, the source introduces us to a character named Fazia. She's basically our case study, used to show exactly how these tactics might look in the real world. So let's walk through her playbook together.
As you can see, the source lays out a pretty clear four-step playbook that Fazia follows. It all starts with winning over his family, building that crucial foundation of trust. From there, it moves into creating the illusion of transparency and the performance of consultation. These are all about building up his confidence in her and making him feel like he's in charge. And all of this builds up to the final move, the loyalty test. Let's break these down one by one.
Okay, so tactic number one is all about integration. We're not just talking about meeting the family for dinner. No, Fazia strategically weaves herself into the family fabric. She might call his mom out of the blue to ask if she needs any errands run. She might gush over his sisters, saying something like, God never gave me sisters, but yours will be my sisters now. The goal is to become completely indispensable to them.
Next up, tactic 2, the illusion of transparency. This is where Fazia reports her every move. She'll send him text about everything she's doing. For example, hey, just letting you know I'm going to the hammam, the public bath. Now, the source points out how clever this is. Why? Because you can't really reach someone at the hammam. So it gives her this block of unaccounted for time, all while making it look like she's being completely open and honest. And that brings us to the third tactic, which the source calls the performance of consultation. Picture this. Fazia is at the market. She gives him a call, but it's not about anything important. It's about something completely minor. Like, honey, I'm looking at fabric for a new hijab. Should I get the red or the blue? I really want your opinion. See, this isn't about the fabric at all. It's about making him feel like his judgment is absolutely essential, reinforcing his feeling of being in control.
And all of this leads to the grand finale, maybe the most powerful tactic of all, the loyalty test. Fazia comes to him with this perfectly crafted story. She'll say she was out, maybe with her mom, and some guy started harassing her. But then she and her mom fiercely defended his honor, yelling at the guy, "How dare you speak to a married woman like that?" She's not just telling him what happened, she's manufacturing a whole scenario specifically to trigger a protective, emotional, almost primal response from him.
So you see the tactics, but how does a man actually react to all this? Well, according to the source, the response changes everything. And the material breaks it down into two very different types of men, two archetypes it calls, the blue man and the new man. First up, you've got the blue man. Think of him as the emotional guy, the one who takes everything she says at face value. He's maybe a little naive. The source even equates this type with the Western term beta man, or a North African term, Hamida al-Sattar, which is used for a man who's easily influenced. He responds from the heart. He's driven by love, sacrifice, and that deep-seated need to protect.
And then, in complete contrast, you have the new man in town. This guy is the total opposite. He's aware, he's strategic, he sees the whole situation as a game, to use the source's term. And instead of reacting with pure emotion, he responds with calm, calculated moves of his own, never showing his cards.
Now this slide really puts it all into perspective. Just look at the difference in how they react to that loyalty test story. The blue man, he immediately gets fired up. His heart starts pounding, he gets angry, he asks, "Who was it? Do you know him?" His protective instinct is completely triggered. But the new man, he stays cool as a cucumber. He just praises her, "You did the right thing defending my honor. Please thank your mother for me." He doesn't fall for the bait. Instead, he flips it to reinforce his own strong position. And you see the exact same split with that phone call about the hijab fabric. The blue man hears that and gets emotional. He thinks, wow, she's becoming more religious, and it's for me. This is amazing. The new man, on the other hand, he understands it's a performance, so he plays along. He'll say, that's wonderful, honey. You'll look beautiful. I think I prefer the red one. Why don't you wear it next time you come over? He acknowledges her move and makes a smooth countermove, all while keeping his true thoughts to himself.
So what's the big lesson here? What's the main takeaway from all of this? Well, according to the source, the answer isn't to get mad or to confront these tactics directly. The real key to mastering the game is simply awareness. It's about understanding the dynamics so you can navigate them without getting played.
Yeah, the source describes this entire strategy as a kind of soft power. It's a way to achieve your goals without having a direct, head-on conflict. So the key isn't to become a victim in these situations, but just to recognize that a game is being played to begin with.
And this whole philosophy is really summed up by an old proverb that the source uses. A woman acts meek until she is empowered. This really gets to the heart of it, suggesting that the submissiveness isn't a permanent personality trait, but a temporary strategy, a means to an end.
But what does empowered actually mean in this context? Well, the source gives a very specific interpretation. It's often the point in a marriage after kids come along. The suggestion is that once that milestone is hit, the entire power dynamic in the relationship shifts, and that mask of meekness, well, it might just come off. And so, all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. If we accept the source's whole premise here, that relationships can sometimes be a strategic game, is just being aware of it the ultimate defense? Is simply knowing the rules of the game enough to play, or even enough to win?